Yo, hey, what is up, people? That's right, we're back for another edition of The Breakdown here on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. Max Friedman on this side, Trademark MMA, as you may know me on Twitter, and sitting across the world via computer screen, my man, my good friend, MMA DNA co-owner, LoudMouth MMA Podcast co-host, all the other great things he does in this sport, Marcel Dorf. Big Marcel. What's up, man? Happy Wednesday.
What's up, dude? Yeah, happy Wednesday. Kind of tired, dude, from work the whole week, so I have a pretty shitty week so far.
Are you surviving the coronavirus outbreak of 2020?
Hey, dude, I have no idea. I know that in some parts in the country, people they tell people they have to stay home and not go to work. So, dude, I don't know. I still have to work, so it's shitty weather outside. It's raining continually, so. And my bike broke down earlier today.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I was pretty upset. So pretty busy, been pretty fucked up the whole day. So I don't know. Probably let's hope it's not it has done the fucked up stuff for this week. So I don't know.
Well, my company just announced, they announced last week, they're like, if you feel uncomfortable going to your office, then start to work from home. And then I work in a big office building that has like 30 other companies in it. It's like 80 stories high. And I guess there were 2 cases in different companies that of affected individuals. And then in the building next door, there were 2 others. So they sent an announcement the CEO sent today. He's like, everyone, if you want to work from home permanently for the time being, you can. Your safety and your precaution is obviously most important. So I will be working probably from home permanently until this thing gets under control. But a lot of those out there I know are quarantined and kind of under pressure. So just want to extend our thoughts and prayers out to all of those. I know our good buddy Alfredo Zulino is quarantined in his home with his family, couldn't go to work or pretty much go out. His kids can't go to school right now. So shout out to him. And if anything he ever needs, we're here for you. Anything else there, Big Marcel?
I don't know, man. It's hard to measure over here the corona. It's hard to say. And I think it's definitely it's serious. But the media, man, the media is making a big circus out of it as well, man.
Yeah, a lot of smaller MMA promotion shows getting canceled.
Listen, I don't say it's not good that they cancel it. Absolutely not, because I know some of the promoters, I know some of the PR people behind those promotions, and they are doing good work. They are good people, and I don't say anything bad about it. But I have more like the not exactly the sports organizations or anything, but the media, the people who read the news, who make the news, are scaring people, man. And I know you have to, how do you say that? You have to warn the people about everything, but the way they bring it over here, I can't speak for other countries, but over here, it's a little bit too much sometimes, in my opinion. If you have a news flash for 15 minutes, you don't have to talk 40 minutes about Corona. That's my opinion.
Yeah, in this day and age with social media, with so much content and information available to be consumed everywhere, it's definitely more widespread amongst the general public and their knowledge of the situation, or at least their perception of the situation from the media, than ever before. And we see that across all spaces, whether it be MMA, whether it be sports, whether it be politics. But we're not a political show. We're here to talk MMA as Big Marcel downs the rest of his beer over there.
Beer? It's not beer, man, dude. Come on.
What was it? It looked like a beer.
It was a Monster Mango Loco juiced.
Oh, okay. Nonetheless, we got a fight card to break down, and the UFC returns this Saturday live from the Ignacio Nelson. Yes, I see your monster. You don't need to hold it up to the camera anymore.
Why not? People can't see it. There's a podcast to listen, not to watch.
In Brazil.
Oh, you.
Just for that, I'm calling this event UFC on ESPN Plus 28. But that takes place this Saturday, UFC Fight Night 170. We were chatting a little bit before the recording here. A lot of folks excited about this card, saying it's one of the best ones they put on Brazil in years. You and I both mentioned, there are some exciting fights, but I don't see it being truly like one of the best ever in Brazil. I don't know where that necessarily is coming from, but nonetheless, I'm excited to talk about it. Big Marcel, we look back at last week, UFC 248. Favorites went 8-3 for the night. We both finished with the same 7-4 record. You did hit on your underdog pick with Gerald Meerschaert, and we both hit on our lock picks. You with Rodolfo Vieira, me with Sean O'Malley. So that brings the standings to the year of Marcel at 50-33 with 3 fight night bonuses, 6 underdog picks correct in 8 events, and you've gone 5 of 7 in your lock picks. So 6 out of 7. You hit on your underdog 6 of 7 times. Nice job. 7-4 for me on the night, so 46-37. Only 1 bonus, 4 underdogs, but I do lead in the lock category with 6 of 7. Thoughts on UFC 248, Big Marcel, before we dive into UFC Brasilia?
Yeah, pretty fun event, man. I mean, I have to say that some fights I have watched with one eye open because I was very tired because I covered an event for MMA DNA earlier that night.
And I saw that clip you posted about that lady dancing in the corner.
Something I never saw something like that. And the even the ring speaker afterwards, he's like, people give an applause for this amazing fight. And then after the fight, he says, this was very spectacular. And I'm not talking about the fight. So, yeah, really weird, man. And it was pretty sad, actually, for the dude because he literally had no coach with him. When he walked out to the cage, only 2 minutes later, that woman walked also there. So she didn't walk out with him. She came from the back 2 minutes later, and then she sat down with her feet in the air, and she's just like only his first name the whole round. She's yelling his first name, and then she came in. Yeah, absolutely weird, man. I've never seen something like that. But yeah, what can you do? But about UFC 248, yeah, I think everybody said enough about the co-main event. I think that was an amazing fight. People hate me for it, but I scored a 4-1 for Weili. But I can see 3-2 for Joanna, 100%. No. I can see that. No, I think I could see that. No, what is your opinion?
I thought 3-2 for Weili or 4-1 if you have those eyes, but I did not score it for Joanna.
I only had the third round for Joanna. I think I gave Weili 1, 2, 4, and 5, but some of those were close, man. So. Yeah. I don't know, but if you look at Joanna's more of a volume puncher, and Weili really did damage with her punches, in my opinion. And that took, how do you say that? That count better, or that count more for me than volume punching is the damage punching. If it's pretty even, So that's why I went for Weili. There was some good fights on the card, man. I mean, the main event. Let's don't talk about that. That was just weird. That was just weird.
Waste our time there.
And that was. I went to bed at 7:50 a.m. because of that main event. I mean, what the hell? But yeah, that wasn't good at all. Some fun fights. I mean, Alex Oliveira and Max Griffin was a fun fight. What about Dariush against Drakkar Klose? A crazy one.
Yeah.
I
thought the Mark Madsen Austin Hubbard fight was exciting too. I mean, kind of this tale of 2 fights, 2 halves there, and then I thought Jamal Emmers got absolutely screwed in the first fight of the night. I thought he should have won that fight 2-3, 2 round 29-28 essentially.
Okay, I thought it was close, but yeah, I mean, I think Rodolfo Vieira might have been lucky, man, that he finished that fight in the first round, because he would have been
that eye was nasty.
That would have been a doctor stoppage in the second round, dude.
Yeah.
After the first. So, yeah, good job by him for stopping that fight, because I don't think he should have lost against Safarov on his record. But
I'm proud of myself for picking Neil Magny. That was like the one fight I thought I had a good read. Yeah. And I should have picked him as my underdog. I don't know why I went with who did I go with? I went with Drakkar Close instead, and that did not turn out well.
Dude, man, I mean, Li Jingliang had him hurt in the first round, but after that, it completely turned. Magny had a masterclass, man. Really good for him. Happy for him. And let's see. He should have been ranked, man, on Tuesday. I mean, why is Connor ranked at 15 at welterweight? Get the dude out of there and put Magny in.
All right, well, let's look ahead. UFC Brasilia coming up March 14, 2020. But before we dive in, want to remind everyone to follow the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud. Got all the great shows on the network, including the Not Safe for Work MMA show with Fred Kirby and Kyle Steele. Got MMA yesterday whenever it does actually drop. Between the Links, that is such a fun show week in and week out with Mike Heck, Davidson Baker, Craig Allen, Keith Schillen, debating the hot topics in the sport. The UFC recap show, recapping the big events. Early Stoppage with Craig Allen and John Franklin. All Angles with John Franklin and Keith Schillen. The MMA Takeover. Also, Shill the Thrill, man, that guy's all over the place. And then Off the Cuff. I listened Off the Cuff last week. Really good listen. And shout out to Mike Heck and Drake Riggs, Craig and Kyle for answering my question about the Contender Series, although I was looking for more specific names that they wanted to see, and I think they only threw out like 2 of them. And rather, Craig just said, I want to see more Canadians.
That's a voice perfect, man. You nailed that.
I'm afraid to do it again because I feel like it's not going to be as good the second time.
Okay.
All right. UFC Brasilia. Fight order courtesy of our good friend MMA Form Guide. Be sure to check him out on Twitter at MMA Form Guide, just like it sounds. Gives you the times, the methods of watch for all the different areas of the world. So great resource there to check out where the fights will be airing and at what time in your given region. Early prelims. We kick things off at 135 pounds on the women's side. Veronica Macedo taking on Bea Malecki. Macedo is the minus 185 favorite. Bea Malecki plus 160 underdog. When I saw this get matched up, I was I was disappointed because I'm a fan of both of these competitors, and especially Veronica Macedo, as many of our listeners know. She's 24. She's 6'3" as a pro and moves up to bantamweight after we talked to her on Instagram. She said she was sick of weight cuts, so hence why she goes up for this one. She comes in off a really impressive submission win over Polyana Viana and then had 2 fights towards the end of the year scrapped. Meanwhile, Bea Malecki, Bad News Barbie, her Tapology page says the fight that she won in her UFC debut against Duda Santana was her pro debut. But I'm pretty sure she was 2-0 beforehand because I remember that being reported when she was on The Ultimate Fighter. But Big Marcel shaking his head. Lost on that season, The Ultimate Fighter, in a back-and-forth fight to Leah Letson. Faced some adversity in that fight against Duda Santana, but found a way to come back and get it done. She's had a hell of a training camp in Dallas at Fortis MMA, working very closely with Macy Chason in Cheyenne Velismus Bays now, I guess, because she's married to JP Bays. Big Marcel, Veronica Macedo, and Bea Malecki. I want to hear your thoughts on this matchup. I'm sure I'm about to get insulted or made fun of at some point in this.
Yeah, but you got a good opportunity to get me back later in the show. But I mean, the Malecki thing is like this, man. When she got on The Ultimate Fighter, they had her at 2-0 when she got announced for The Ultimate Fighter. And then you look at the record size, and they got her both at 0-0, but only 2-0 in amateur fights. So the UFC actually took the amateur fights as pro fight.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. So I don't know what's up with that. So she is, in my opinion, 1-0, but hey, who am I? There will be a big difference in height in this one, I think, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. I mean, you even talked to Veronica Macedo on Instagram, man. I mean, that's just next level, dude. That's his MMA crush. So yeah, I mean, I think Macedo is a better fighter overall, and she's more experienced, in my opinion. I think she will have difficulties with the height advantage of Malecki in this one, but fighting-wise and talent-wise, I have to go with Macedo. So I'm going with Veronica Macedo. I think she finishes the fight in the second round.
Yeah, the size discrepancy is one I worry about because this is one of those situations where I know Bea Malecki, this will be her second fight at bantamweight, but she came down from featherweight. Meanwhile, Veronica Macedo, her UFC debut on short notice was at bantamweight, but has since been at the flyweight division. She goes up for this one, but I got to favor her too. I think she's the much smoother grappler, finds a way to get it done. Submission second round for Macedo. But yeah, I hate this matchup. Not a fan of it. I would like to see both of them matched up.
If you didn't pick her, I would have messaged her on Instagram.
Big Marcel, just you'll see. Your time's coming later in the show. Flyweights up next on the men's side. Bruno Bulldog Silva is the -120 favorite against the Czech Republic's own, and I will say his name because Marcel has forgotten it 3 separate times on this program. David Dvorak is a +100 even money betting underdog. So many think Dvorak was the best unsigned flyweight outside the UFC. This is actually a little bit of a short notice fight. He replaces Sumer Daji in this one. The guy is 17-3. He is on a 13-fight win streak. All finishes in those 13 out of the Czech Republic. Bruno Bulldog Silva is 11-4-1. He was at one point on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 4. Those may remember him there. I believe he lost to Matheus Nicolau in the first round of that that competition. He trains at Fight Ready Gym alongside the UFC champion Henry Cejudo. Lost his UFC debut to Khalid Taha. 3rd round submission loss there. That snapped a 3-fight unbeaten streak. Big Marcel Silva and David Dvorak. What is your prediction?
I still got the feeling Bruno Silva got signed because he's a good friend of Henry Cejudo.
I do too.
Yeah. And I mean, David Dvorak, he is a very talented fighter. We saw in the last fight where he fought in the octagon against Arsen Taigibov, where we subbed him in the second round. Taigibov is also a really talented fighter. Bruno Silva hasn't shown me anything at all so far. In the UFC, I wasn't impressed with him against Khalid Taha, so for me it's an easy pick here. Going with the newcomer, David Dvorak. I'm taking him via TKO in the first round.
Yeah, I'm not high on Bruno Bulldog Silva either. I think Dvorak's a fantastic prospect, a fantastic signing for this division. He's finding a way to finish fights, and he, like you said, he has strong competition. He's faced very good competition. I got to favor him too. I think he gets it done. TKO in the second round for Mr. Dvorak, and I'll let the listeners in on a little secret. I put a bet down on this fight for David Dvorak at +120. I don't usually do that, but for this week, I like that betting line. I think he's a live dog, as they would say. Oof. Maybe he's not going to fare well now that I put that bet down. All right, headlining the early prelims, we go to the women's flyweight division. Mayra Bueno Silva taking on Marina Moroz. Silva is the -140 favorite. Moroz, the comeback is +120. Marina Moroz is 9-3 as a pro, 4-3 in the UFC, and comes into this one off a win over Sabina Mazo. That was a year ago, last March. Was supposed to fight Poliana Botelho in September, but pulled out. Meanwhile, Silva, 6-0 as a pro. We saw her come to the UFC via the Dana White Contender Series Brazil. Won her UFC debut in flawless fashion. That submission over Jillian Robertson, but that was all the way back in September of 2018. She has been out of action since, and I'm unsure why. Big Marcel, do you know why? And if not, go ahead anyway with your breakdown and prediction, my friend.
Yeah, so Marina Moroz, I have no idea why. Marina Moroz hasn't been she actually hasn't been impressive since her debut against Joanne Calderwood.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing stands out what she has done so far. Her last fight against Sabina Mazo was ultimate boring. She held her down. Mazo couldn't stand up. Mayra Bueno Silva.
I do want to say something, though. I think it did show that a little bit more of an impressive performance in that one compared to some of her others, but I think that was definitely one of her better performances in the UFC.
Yeah, okay. So Mayra Bueno, she had difficulties in the Jillian Robertson fight, but she came back and she got that armbar win. Very solid fight on the Dana White Contender Series Brazil, where she finished Mayana Souza, which was a favorite, I think, in that fight going in. So I mean, Moros can go with her to the ground, but I think she has a disadvantage on the ground against Myra Bueno. So I'm taking Myra Bueno via unanimous decision this fight.
Yeah, Silva seems like a good talent. I don't like the layoff, but I think she finds a way to get it done. I hate to pick against a competitor who's training with Mike Valle out here in Chicago at Valle Flow Striking. Marina Moroz does a lot of work with him, but going to go with Silva here, the Brazilian, unanimous decision as well. So 3 fights in, 3 same picks here, Big Marcel. Maybe things will change on the next portion of the prelims as we move things along to the featherweight division. Peru versus Brazil in this one. Enrique Fuerte Barzola is the -170 favorite against Hani Yaya, who is the +150 underdog. Big Marcel, why don't you kick things off here?
So Hani Yaya, yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen him, man. It's more than a year ago against Ricky Simone, where Simone did very well and Yaya didn't do very well, actually. Before that, they had 3 wins, all 3 via submission. He's very good on the ground, Hani Yaya, we all know that. He's fighting Enrique Barzola. He is also known for the notorious takedown artist in the UFC. He keeps spamming those takedowns all the time. And but his last 2 fights, or last 2 out of his 3 fights, he didn't win. He lost to Aguilar and Mozarevloev, and a split decision win against Bobby Moffat, which could have gone either way. But I think, no, you don't think so? Okay,
No.
that's okay, no problem. I think so, but if you don't agree with me, that's all good. So I think Yaya is a little bit, how do you say that, more of a gatekeeper, and Barzola is still evolving in this game. I don't think he is. I think it's a pretty close fight, honestly. But I have to go with Enrique Barzola by power. I think Barzola, but via unanimous decision. But will be close, man. Yaya can also catch a limb and take it home with him. So
Yeah. Barzola 6-3 in the UFC. He won the Ultimate Fighter Latino America Season 2, but does enter off that loss to Movsar Evloev. But no shame in that. We know how good of a talent he is. Has alternated wins and losses in his last 4, but this will be his bantamweight debut. So interesting to keep an eye on the weight cut there. Yaya had that 3-fight win in submission streak snapped by Ricky Simone back in February of 2019. We know he's good with the submissions, but I think Barzola is wrestling, and I think he'll be a little bit busier on the feet, too, in the striking. So I got to agree with you, El Fuerte, via unanimous decision in this one. All right, this is a fun fight up next at 170. Alexei Kunchenko and Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos, Capoeira. Capoeira is the -140 favorite. Kunchenko is the +120 underdog. Man, they keep sending him to South America, Kunchenko. It's a very experienced combatant here. Kunchenko is the former M1 welterweight champion. He's 35, 20-1 overall, 2-1 in the UFC. He recently dropped a close decision to Gilbert Burns in Uruguay. That was a fun fight. Zaleski, meanwhile, is 33. He is 21-6, 7-2 in the UFC, had a 7-fight win streak snapped by Lee the Leech Jingliang last time out, got finished late, but was behind in that fight regardless. This is a close fight to call. Kunchenko, Zaleski dos Santos, Big Marcel. What do you see going down for this one?
yeah, man. I mean, Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos. Yeah, that was a big surprise for me that he lost to Ling Jingliang. I didn't saw that coming at all. Had the sick win streak before that with lots of finishes as well, flying knees, spinning hook kick, from CM System from Cristiano Marcelo, Alexei Kunchenko.
CM System, good team, churning out some really top talent these days.
Definitely. Alexei Kunchenko, former M1 global champion, like you said earlier. He did well in his first 2 fights in the UFC. Also did well against Gilbert Burns, but I think Burns was a little bit better and he deserved that win.
Yep.
I think Zaleski wins this fight. I think he comes back. It's in front of his own, in front of his own country. I think Zaleski finishes him in the 3rd round via TKO.
All right, we are split for the first time on this card. I got to favor Kunchenko here. I think he grinds out a win or maybe even a late finish. I don't think Zaleski's going to be able to catch him with any of the crazy stuff. Kunchenko's a vet, man. He's been in there with a lot of tough talent. I think he finds a way to get it done. Either give me a late TKO for Kunchenko here.
You're officially off the Zaleski bandwagon.
I still think he's a very talented, fun fighter to watch, but this is a tough matchup. And I remember you and I were chatting about this matchup. I don't like it for that reason because I'm a fan of both these guys, and I don't want to see either one lose.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I remember again as well. Yeah, we talk about this.
The time has come as Big Marcel is smiling ear to ear over there. No, he's not. I'm just joking. We got a fight in the strawweight division. Randa Marcos taking on Amanda Ribas. Ribas is a whopping minus 320 favorite over the Canadian Randa Marcos, who is the plus 260 underdog. Paige Van Zandt out. In steps Randa Marcos. Perhaps the biggest up and down UFC career in strawweight division history. She is 10-7 as a pro, but has alternated wins and losses throughout her UFC tenure, with a draw against Marina Rodriguez thrown in there at one point. She comes into this one off a split decision win over Ashley Yoder. I actually thought she lost that fight, but maybe that was just because I picked Yoder. She's a talented grappler from Canada. But meanwhile, on the other side of things, Ribas has been sensational in her 2 UFC appearances. And I am very disappointed that she is not facing Paige Van Zandt in this one, because I thought that was going to be a very one-sided performance in favor of Amanda Ribas. Quick submission win in her UFC career over Emily Whitmire. A dominant decision over the previously unbeaten Mackenzie Dern. She's 8-1, got a 3-fight win streak, only 26. She seems like the real deal. And not to mention, she is Marcel Dorf's favorite fighter on the roster today. Big Marcel, I know that's an unofficial quote. It might be a little bit of an exaggeration on my end, but I know you're a fan of Ribas. Break this fight down for us.
Yeah, so let's start with Randa Marcos first. I mean, she has looked good sometimes in the octagon, but also sometimes she didn't, man. I mean, for example, I think she got on the bad side of a split decision against Alexa Grasso, but at the same time she got on the good side of a split decision against Carla Esparza, and in my opinion it should have been reversed. But yeah, she got also on the good side of a split decision against Ashley Yoder most recently, the fight you just talked about. Amanda Ribas, yeah, she just did very well in the UFC. I mean, after such a long layoff, she won against Emily Whitmire via rear naked choke, and after that she defeated the formerly undefeated Mackenzie Dern via unanimous decision, which was a pretty decent win, I think. Was supposed to fight Paige Van Zandt. She's definitely 100% injured, so I don't want to talk any shit, but she dodged a bullet here, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, last fight under contract, going to Brazil to face Amanda Ribas. I don't think that would have ended well for Mrs. Vanderford.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. She doesn't want to face Macy Barber, but she wants to face Amanda Ribas. Doesn't make sense in my opinion, but okay. Amanda Ribas all day, man, in this one. I mean, Randa Marcos has to keep a win-loss record, and it's again lost this time. So picking Amanda Ribas by maybe not a submission. I mean, Marcos is tough. Going with a decisive unanimous decision.
Yeah, this is a much harder matchup than Paige Van Zandt is for Ribas, but I still think she's going to get it done. I know Marcos is a solid grappler, but I don't know. I kind of see Ribas snatching something. So give me Ribas by a submission. Let's go late in the second round in this one. All right, headlining the prelims is one heck of a fight. I know you are excited about this one, Big Marcel. We got ranked flyweights on the men's side. Number 3 ranked Jussier Formiga is the minus 165 favorite against the number 5 ranked Assassin Baby Brandon Moreno, who is the plus 145 underdog. This is a fantastic flyweight fight here. Love to see some of these types of matchups get made. Marcel, why don't you kick things off and break this one down first?
Why didn't the UFC put this fight on the main card? Get the fuck out. I mean, come on. This is an amazing fight. Jussier Formiga, for years, he's been in the top 5 of the division. He is one of the best guys in the division. Always had bad luck that he had to fight one of the absolute top contenders to get into the flyweight title matchup, which he never got. I mean, there are other guys like Wilson Hayes who got title shots again after winning against a number 10 guy. I mean, and Formiga had to fight Henry Cejudo, Joseph Benavidez twice, Ray Borg, John Dodson. and those are the fights he all lost in the UFC, but he won all those other ones. So he actually won against Davis and Figueiredo, for example. So yeah, very, very solid guy. We have on the other side, we have Brandon Moreno, who did very well against Kai Kara France in his last fight. He won that fight. Before that, the split decision or the split draw against Askar Askarov, which could have gone his way. Yeah, I think Jussier Formiga is overall the better fighter in this one. And Moreno, we all know Moreno is a pretty good grappler himself, but he's not as good as Formiga in my opinion. And I see Formiga backpacking him pretty much. And I think Formiga takes a decision at home.
Yeah, so Brandon Moreno, 26, unbeaten in the second UFC run. He's gone 1-0-1, took out Kai Kara France, but a draw against Askar Askarov in a terrific fight. He's training at Entram Gym in Mexico and Alliance MMA, I should add, but training with guys like Jose Teco Quinones, Martin Bravo, Macio Fullen, to name a few. Formiga, you mentioned it. He's been fantastic. He had that 4-fight win streak snapped by Joseph Benavidez in last June, but other than that, man, he has been flawless in recent years. And at first, I kind of like the idea of Moreno winning, mixing things up on the feet, but I got to favor Formiga, like you said, to backpack and grind his way to a decision victory if he doesn't get a submission late. So I'm going to take Formiga via submission in the third round.
Listen, man, honestly, I don't give a fuck, man, but the UFC has to give Jussier Formiga at one point a shot at the flyweight title. I mean, what are they going to do? Does he have to fight against some top contender before he gets the flyweight title shot? He has done so much, man, and there are other fighters, like I said, who got a flyweight title shot by defeating lesser opponents, and he didn't get one. He always had to go through a Benavidez, a Dodson, a Cejudo, a Borg, a top guy before he got that shot at the title, and he never got it because he just came too short, or he got finished twice by Benavidez.
Something he beat Henry Cejudo in that fight too, and not to mention he beat Davis and Figueiredo, like you mentioned, the guy who just unofficially won the UFC Flyweight Championship. Granted, he missed weight, didn't win, but he won the fight, so he's probably going to be in the mix for the title shot when it does come around again. If Formiga wins this fight, how do you not throw him in there against Davis and Figueiredo?
The thing is, if the UFC going to do the rematch between Figueiredo and Benavidez, where does it leave Formiga?
Yeah. You know? We'll see. Only they can decide. But we go to the main card here, and we kick things off at lightweight. John Makdessi against Francisco Trinaldo. Some lightweight vets in action here. Trinaldo's the -165 favorite. Makdessi, the +145 underdog in this one. Masaran Duba. Been in the UFC since 2012 after a run on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. That was at middleweight, and he's been fighting at lightweight ever since. Has alternated wins and losses in his last 7. He took a close decision win from Bobby Green in November. Makdessi, meanwhile, 17-6. He's been in the UFC since 2010. He's won 3 straight fights, but has not competed since March 2019. That was a win over Jesus Pinedo. Big Marcel, Makdessi, and Trinaldo. I know this fight's been booked, I believe, a couple times before, unless I'm thinking of something else here. Give us your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, man, Francisco Trinaldo, he do the stuff, man. He's 41. He's still going strong. Like you said, close fight against Bobby Green. But listen, people, I don't like the word robbed, but he got robbed against Alexander Hernandez. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It was horrible. It's unanimous, actually. That's me. It makes it even more horrible. John Makdessi, he has on a 3-fight winning streak, but the people he beat, Jesus Pinedo, Ross Pearson, Abel Trujillo. I mean, Abel Trujillo was on this, how do you say that, on his way out to the UFC. Ross Pearson was on his way out to the UFC, and Jesus Pinedo actually never made it to the UFC as far as I'm concerned. But
he went 1-1, didn't he? Beat Devin Powell, but lost to
but
and then he was gone. 2-fight stint, you're out of there.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think Trinaldo will take it. Home advantage, close fight, split decision. Masaran Duba, take it home, keep it in Brazil, be happy, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm going to favor Trinaldo here. I think he finds a way to get it done in Brazil, but I'm going unanimous route, not any of this split nonsense. All right, I'm
So,
interested to see your breakdown on this next fight here. We got ranked light heavyweights, Johnny Walker and Nikita Krylov. So Walker is the number 11 ranked 205 pounder in the UFC. He is the minus 150 favorite. Krylov Al Capone is sitting at 13 in the rankings. He is plus 130 as an underdog. What are you laughing at?
4 fights Walker. You pick all 4 rounds.
Valid. I have. Walker, we know he burst on the scene in 2018, 2019, 3 straight wins and finishes in the UFC, but suffered that first UFC loss, first round TKO to Corey Anderson. That was at Madison Square Garden in November. That had snapped a 9-fight win streak. Krylov is somehow only 27 years old. He is 26-7 in his career. His second UFC stint, he has gone 1-2. Recently suffered a decision loss to Glover Teixeira. Big Marcel, I can't pick Johnny Walker fights right at all, so I have no idea what I'm going to do here. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nikita Krylov, he definitely has the advantage on the ground, but he's going to be silly. And he's going to stand and bang with Johnny Walker. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And Johnny Walker won't make the same mistake as he made last time, I think. I think he has learned from that. And he got a lot of shit over him when he did that and that when he got finished, because many people were super high on him, and many people were very disappointed with him losing to Corey Anderson in a fashion nobody actually expected. I mean, yeah, the family members of Corey Anderson maybe, but most people wouldn't have expected that he would knock out Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker catches him an early first round. TKO or KO for Johnny Walker. And if not, if Krylov plays it smart and he takes it to the ground, he can win this fight. But I don't think Krylov does that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's going to stand and bang, but I like his chances too, man. He's a good striker in his own right. I'm going to take the underdog here. Krylov submission. I think either he catches Walker on the feet or he plays it smart, gets him down, submission. I could be completely off. I can't get a good read on this fight.
But there you have it, people. You have to pick Walker to win because Max picked Krylov.
All right, well, we go up to 155 pounds for this next one. Renato Moicano, currently sitting at number 7 in the featherweight rankings. This will be his lightweight debut here. He is the minus 330 favorite against the Bosnian bomber Damir Hadzovic, who is the plus 270 underdog. Both have not competed since June of 2019. Moicano, meanwhile, 13-3 as a pro, 5-3 in the UFC, comes into this one off back-to-back losses to Jose Aldo and Chan Sung Jung. Hadzovic, meanwhile, is 33. He is 13-5 as a pro, 3-2 in the UFC, was beaten by Christos Hiagos last time out. In a crowded division, another loss may be detrimental to his roster spot. He might be on the chopping block here if he loses again. Big Marcel Moicano up at 155. What do you think goes down in this lightweight tilt?
Yeah, so Moicano, listen, besides his 2 losses back-to-back, he did very well in the UFC, man. I mean, his loss before against Brian Ortega wasn't a fight he was winning until he went for a stupid takedown, a sloppy takedown, and he got guillotined by Ortega.
Yeah, and talk about a great performance, the one against Calvin Kattar. We just outpointed him for 15 minutes.
Yeah, Calvin didn't block any low leg kicks from Moicano, and I think he didn't walk that great the day after because he really absolutely didn't block any leg kick from Renato. Damir Hadzovic on the other side. Damir is a good fighter, but he is not a top fighter in my opinion. I don't see him cracking the top 15 anytime soon. He's pretty solid. I think he trains in Denmark. With Rumble something, I forgot.
Yeah, I believe he trains a lot with Nicholas Dalby.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, Moicano going a weight class up. I favor Moicano in this one. I think he's a more talented fighter. Going with the Renato Moicano via a submission win in the second round.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Moicano answers back. I mean, he's been finished back-to-back fights. You know that can always do something to your confidence, but I don't think Damir Hadzovic is the one to really challenge him and get in his face and give him another tough out and give him a loss. I got to favor Moicano to get back on track here. Unanimous decision. What did you say your finish was?
Submission, second round.
Got it right. Okay. I wrote it down right, but then I was thinking that maybe I messed it up.
Don't second guess yourself, Max.
Co-main event time. Great tilt here at 170 pounds. The number 5 ranked Damian Maia, Brazilian, is the plus 160 underdog against fellow Brazilian, number 12 ranked Gilbert Burns, who is the minus 185 favorite. Marcelinho. Embrace your inner Brazilian and break down this fight between two Brazilians in this co-main event.
Mucha foto lute. So Damian Maia, yeah, we all know him. He's a wizard on the ground. I mean, probably the best BJJ guy in the UFC turned MMA fighter. Gilbert Burns, he does very well, man. Since he went to weight class up, is it right? Let me. I'm drawing a blank here. No, he was just he's at welterweight now, right?
Yeah, he's welterweight. 170.
Yeah. Help me out, dude. Sometimes I'm drawing a blank. Welterweight, yeah. Ever since he's getting a weight class up, he's doing very well. Very impressed by his wins over Gunnar Nelson and against Alexei Kunchenko. Damian Maia, he keeps being, how do you say that? He's always dangerous, you know. When you take it to the ground, it's dangerous. But Gilbert Burns is a good submission guy as well, or a BJJ fighter as well, you know. So maybe not as high leveled as Maia. I don't know. I think Maia is still the better, probably a BJJ guy, but it's an MMA fight. And overall fighter, Burns has definitely a better stand-up game than Maia. So if he can keep it more stand-up than on the ground, I favor Burns in this one. If it goes to the ground, I think it will be pretty equal. I don't think Maia will submit Burns. I don't see it happen, to be honest. So I'm favoring Burns to get the decision here. I think it is a 50-50 fight for me. Very hard to pick this one, and it's a fun fight for being a co-main event. But taking Gilbert Burns in this one via decision.
Rightfully so in terms of its co-main event slot. So Damian Maia, man, veteran of the sport. How can you not like this guy's challenge for both the middleweight and welterweight titles during his run with this promotion? 3-fight win streak and submitted Ben Askren in the main event in Singapore in his last bout. Gilbert Burns, a staple of the Hard Knocks 365 / now Sanford MMA, I believe, is the new gym that they've set up down there. 17-3 as a pro, entered on a 4-fight win streak. And even more impressive about those 2 fights at 170, you mentioned Big Marcel, both on short notice.
Yeah.
Very active in the grappling world as well. I think his jiu-jitsu helps him stave off the takedown attempts from Maia. I like him to win the exchanges on the feet. Burns decision for me in this one. Main event time. And we got 5 rounds in the lightweight division, and talk about an epic main event. The number 8 ranked Kevin Lee, Motown Phenom, taking on the number 13 ranked Charles Oliveira, plus 115 underdog. Oliveira is 28-8. He is on a 6-fight win streak. He has won 7 of 8 since returning to the lightweight. And did I mention they're all finishes? He just turned 30 years old, Big Marcel. This guy is incredible. He's 16-8 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He is the all-time UFC submissions leader. His last 2 fights, though, knockout finishes of Jared Gordon and Nick Lentz. Motown Phenom Kevin Lee, 18-5 as a pro, only 27 years old. Maybe he'll catch up to that 36-fight experience by the time he's 30. He's 11-5 in the UFC. Comes into this one off a knockout of the year candidate over Gregor Gillespie. That netted him $50,000 in the process. But prior to that, he had lost back-to-back fights. Kevin Lee, Charles Oliveira, it doesn't get as good as this sometimes. I mean, how can you not be excited for this fight? Big Marcel, what do you think?
I know who you're going to pick, so you're going to go first, and I know who I'm going to pick.
All right. Well, if you want me to give my analysis, it'll be interesting to see the striking battle as this one, because both are far improved in their striking. We've just seen it in recent years. I can't see Charles Oliveira not getting it done with a submission here in some way, shape, or form. I think he's able to snatch something up on Kevin Lee. I know Kevin Lee loves to wrestle, but man, Oliveira is next level with his submission game. I got to favor Du Bronx here. Submission again. Oliveira, late first, early second, underdog, getting it done. Your turn.
I knew you was going to pick Oliveira. And I know I was going to pick Kevin Lee. That's why I let it go you first. I think Charles Oliveira is an absolute great fighter. I love watching him compete, but I got the feeling when he gets a fight that is getting him to the next level of the division, he fades. He doesn't show it, in my opinion. And Kevin Lee, he got a huge confident boost after that win against Gregor Gillespie. He was kind of down with 2 losses back to back, but I always believe in the talent of Kevin Lee, man. The dude is
he's come a long way in his UFC career, that's for sure.
I know people don't like him and love to not give him credit, but the dude is good, man. I mean, I love his fights. He's good. He always comes to fight. He is very good on the ground. His stand-up is improving every time I see him fight. And there is no way I'm not going to pick him in this fight. When I saw this fight announced, I said Kevin Lee's going to win this one. So I'm taking Kevin Lee here, and I think he knocks him out in the second round. TKO, ground and pound finish. And he probably has to survive the first round with Charles trying to take him down and trying to get the submission thing going. But nah, man, I'm taking Kevin Lee in this one. I'm pretty convinced he will get the win here.
All right. Well, there's another difference for us. 3 on the evening. So, Big Marcel, you are up to pick fight of the night first. Who you going with?
Who I'm going with? Yeah, that's a very good question, Max. So fight of the night. We can go with many fights. I mean, Jussier Formiga has a great fight against Brandon Moreno, but the UFC doesn't like the flyweight, so that one won't be the fight of the night. Then I was going to my second pick, which would be maybe David Dvorak's debut, but that's also a flyweight fight, but the UFC doesn't like flyweight, so we're going with that one. Then we're going further. Amanda Ribas against Randa Marcos. I really like Amanda Ribas, but I don't think she will have the fight of the night. So we're going with another one. Maybe Damian Maia against Gilbert Burns. That would be a fun fight, right? But it can be also a pretty boring fight if it can keep it to the ground. So we're not going with that one either.
Are you going to break down every single fight that's not going to be your fight of the night pick first? Is that what's happening here?
I don't like you to interrupt me on this one. Thank you. So I'm going with Johnny Walker against Nikita Krylov.
Man, this is tough. I agree with some of the stuff that you've said. But, man, I don't know who's going to outshine the flyweights. I got to go with Formiga and Moreno. I just can't see it. Can't see any other fight being as back and forth as well. Yeah.
Listen, man, I agree with you 100%, but the UFC doesn't see it. And when Dana sees it, he's like, oh, dude, you saw the flyweights. They are so funny. Oh, they're so fucking amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then he puts them on the prelims again. I mean, what can we do about it? What can we do about it? And don't look so serious, man. My God. I mean,
man, I'm just thinking, like, now you're in my head. I don't know. All right.
That's what she said.
I'm sticking with it. Performance of the night bonus winners, Do Bronx Oliveira all day for me. My second pick will be Amanda Ribas getting it done. Backups are going to be Krylov and Veronica Macedo.
Fuck that, dude. I was hoping you was going to say Charles Oliveira and Nikita Krylov because I would go head-to-head with you and going with Kevin Lee and Johnny Walker.
Lee and Walker. You think Walker's doubling up, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, backups. Who you got?
We're going with Amanda. And we're going with David Dvorak.
Well, your underdog by default is David Dvorak. I'm also going with that because I think he's got the best chance. He's got the best chance, I think, of the underdogs I picked between him, Kunchenko, Nikita Krylov, and Charles Oliveira. Even though you only went with one underdog on the evening, I'm still sticking with my guns and going with the newcomer. Who is your lock of the night, Big Marcel, to get things?
Did I only pick one underdog?
You picked one underdog.
Well, what a bitch. So, yeah, my lock of the night. Let me think. My luck of the night. I'm with Amanda Hebas. Why not? I should pick her at least once.
Man, this is tough. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Gilbert Burns. I just love the matchup he has. I think he will be able to successfully fend off any kind of Damian Maia attack and be able to implement his game. All right, let's break this down one more time. We are both taking Veronica Macedo. Hey, what's up, girl? Over Bea Malecki. We both have David Dvorak over Bruno Bulldog Silva. I almost said Bruno Blindado Silva, middleweight. Both taking Myra Bueno Silva over Marina Moroz. Both have Enrique Barzola over Hani Yaya. We're split on this next one. Big Marcel's got Zaleski Capoeira. I got Alexei Kunchenko. Both have Amanda Hebas over Randa Marcos. Both have Jussier Formiga over Brandon Moreno. Both have Francisco Trinaldo over John McDessie. Both you're taking Johnny Walker. I got Nikita Krylov. Both taking Hinato Moicano over Damir Hadzovic. Both have Gilbert Burns over Damian Maia. And in the main event, Marcel's going Kevin Lee. I got Charles Oliveira. Fight of the night bonus for me is going to Formiga Moreno. For Marcel, it's Walker Krylov. Performance of the night bonuses for me are Charles Oliveira and Amanda Hebas. For Marcel, it's Kevin Lee and Johnny Walker. Performance of the night backups for me are Nikita Krylov and Veronica Macedo. For Marcel, it's Hebas and David Dvorak. Dvorak is both of our pick for underdog of the night, and lock of the night, I'm going Gilbert Burns. He has Amanda Hebas. UFC Brasilia, Marcel, what's the last final word on this card? And then are you going to be watching Bellator at the same time?
Is that the same day? Is
it not? Is it Friday?
I think it's Friday, man.
Oh, okay.
So, no, I'm probably not watching Bellator. That's too late because I have to work on Saturday. So, but I'm definitely going to watch the UFC, probably not from the beginning because that's like 10 p.m. and the television is not free over here at 10 p.m. So that's probably not happening. So maybe later. And it's done early over here, man. I mean, how late is that done? Probably at 3 a.m. So maybe after 3 a.m. I can watch some prelims after that. So, yeah, it'll be good.
Late night owl for you, my friend.
Definitely.
So it's St. Patrick's Day celebration here in Chicago on Saturday, but seeing as that I'm pushing 30, I will probably not be going out to the bars to celebrate. So I will probably be at home watching UFC Brasilia or watching it on Sunday morning, TBD on that.
Yeah, when I WhatsApp you about a certain fight, you don't reply because you haven't seen it live for some reason, or you're gonna watch it later live and you don't want to see it. And then I didn't know you wasn't gonna see it, so I was like, why this fucker doesn't reply, man? You know? And you're like, yeah, I had to do some other stuff. I didn't watch the first two fights, for example, and then I just text you about the first fight. It's always the thing, you know.
Yeah, but that was, I mean,
you can say something back, dude.
If you were going to spoil a fight, that was one to spoil because we both knew what was going to happen, and we both had the same idea there. So we look ahead. I believe
I forgot.
We will be back next week for London, correct?
Yeah.
And then a heads up to our listeners, and I haven't even told you this yet, you're going to either have to roll with Shill the Thrill or someone else from the network for UFC Columbus. I will be on vacation with my future in-laws all week of leading up to UFC Columbus, but I will be sure to give you my picks and notes if you want them.
By the way,
what?
I appreciate you told me that before this show. I didn't even know, man, but I appreciate it.
Did I not tell you the last time before?
No, man, you never told me anything.
I thought I sent a message to the group. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. My apologies. Big Marcel, where can the people find and follow you?
You can find and follow me in Maastricht, but I prefer you just say something and don't follow me the whole time around. But you can follow me on the internet, on Twitter, BigMarcel24, or on Instagram. And you can follow MMADNA.nl on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to follow somebody around, I mean, go to Was that St. Louis or something? And go to Trademark MMA. Follow him.
Well, I am from St. Louis, yes, but I live in Chicago, Big Marcel. So glad to see that you listen when I speak. You find me on Twitter, Trademark MMA. Want to thank all our great fans for tuning in week in and week out. Stay safe out there with the coronavirus spreading wildly throughout the world. Want to make sure everybody is staying hygienic and eliminating those germs, not catching that virus. So sending our best across the globe here. Thanks to the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. Be sure to click subscribe and follow. Big Marcel, you want the final word before we cut this thing?
Yeah, man, I have my disinfection spray after I talk with you to clean my screen.
Oh yeah, it's so dirty from the internet, just via the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
We will be back next week, UFC London, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.